What is going on, everybody? My name is Nathan ELEMENTofFROST. Welcome back to yet another episode of review for The Walking Dead. But again, this isn't just any episode of The Walking Dead, guys. This is the series premiere for Fear the Walking Dead, everybody. That is right, the spin-off, the companion series for The Walking Dead original TV series is finally here, guys. We've known about this for about 2 years, and it was good, man. I'm telling you right now, it was good. I already put up a prediction video for this episode of Fear the Walking Dead, rather. I keep wanting to say just The Walking Dead. I'm not used to it yet, so I definitely got to get used to it. But I already put up a prediction video for this episode if you guys want to check that out. Link will be in the description below. I'm not sure if you guys hear my fan or not, but I am sorry about it. I am going to be using some noise canceling and noise removing on Audacity. But if I do not have this fan on right now, I will pass out because it is extremely hot, so I do apologize. If you guys, if the noise canceling doesn't actually get all of it out. But moving on, anyway, yeah, today, guys, we're going to go over the review, or we're going to go over the recap. We're going to go over basically how the episode was in general. And to start things off, guys, it was very, very good. It was very, very interesting. And I loved every single second of it. It was very original, and very, very good. So, basically, to start things off, the episode started off as we all knew how it was going to start off. Because if you guys have followed my prediction video, you guys would have known that AMC actually posted the first 3 minutes of the episode online on the YouTube channel and on the AMC.com website. They actually posted the first 3 minutes of the episode a couple days ago. And I actually told you guys about it, and the link was in the description below of that prediction video. So if you guys watched it, obviously you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. The episode starts off with Nick Clark waking up basically in a heroin den, in a way. Actually at an abandoned church is where it actually was. And he basically is investigating a scream, and he finds out that his friend Gloria is dead, and everybody else in that church is dead as well. And his friend Gloria, he's looking for her. He's going through the whole church. He goes downstairs. He sees dead bodies, stuff like this, and he finally finds Gloria, and she's turned around doing something, and he basically drops his weapon and basically says, "Gloria, come on, we have to get out of here." And, well, she turns around, and she's kind of a zombie. She's kind of a walker. So yeah, she's definitely diseased. She's eating a guy. She's eating a person right on the ground. And anyways, that's what happened right there with that. That's why he freaked out. He actually ran outside. He just kept running. He ran and ran and ran. He ran outside the church. He jumped out the window. He ran into the middle of the street, and he flees outside. And basically, in Los Angeles, he gets hit by a car. Out of nowhere. Well, not really out of nowhere. He was middle of the road. So I mean, it was, he was kind of calling for it, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, the only reason he actually went out on the road in the first place is because he was running from, obviously, Gloria, who was nomming down on some guy. So anyway, at home now, guys, Madison Clark. I've gotten a little more familiar with the names, by the way. If you guys follow my prediction video, I wasn't too good with the names of the characters, but I've gotten a little more familiar with them now. So I can tell you guys sort of, off by heart who is who. So anyway, Madison, at her home, obviously, basically tells her teenage daughter Alicia to get ready for school. We actually seen this in the trailer and the sneak peeks and stuff like this. Alicia was somewhat in the shower, and she kind of opened the door and basically told her to, get ready for school. Typical teenage thing to do. Basically, tells her mom to get the fuck out. Yeah. So as her boyfriend, Madison's boyfriend, not Alicia's, we'll get into hers a little later. Madison's boyfriend, Travis, is now fixing the sink. They both receive a phone call about Nick, Madison's son, which you guys may or may not know is the guy who started the episode off at the church, or at the heroin den, whatever you guys want to call it. Basically, he's a druggie, okay? So she receives a phone call about Nick, and basically informing him that he's at the hospital, he was hit by a car, stuff like this, and he's all hyped up on drugs. So at the hospital now, a doctor informs Madison and Travis that Nick, who has bruised rib and contusions, was basically ranting and delusional when he was brought in. most likely talking about the zombie that he's seen eating somebody at the church. Everybody else dead in there as well. Like, he actually came across like a few bodies, so pretty self-explanatory why he'd be ranting about it. I think anybody would at that point. So, but he was on heroin, he was on drugs, stuff like that, guys. So obviously you can't believe every single thing he says. I mean, obviously they're going to eventually learn to believe everything that he said that he saw. But right now, it could be really anything. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, Nick's actually in his hospital room right now, and cops are like questioning him basically in his hospital room. He basically stonewalls him. He basically doesn't say anything, saying that he probably was just, kidding around or something. Like, he didn't actually try to hurt himself. He ran out in the middle of the road and got hit by a car. It was an accident. They asked basically why he was talking about blood and viscera, and Madison arrives, which is obviously Nick's mother, and basically orders them to leave. Basically saying, are you arresting my son? If not, get out. Blah, 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 blah. You have no right to talk to him. And that's totally true. Totally true. You don't have if you're not charging him with anything, you don't have the right to question him. You know what I'm saying? So they can get out, and also they can't speak to him without a lawyer present. It's pretty common knowledge. But anyway, moving on. So yeah. Afterwards, she asked Nick basically to go back to rehab. He basically dismisses her concern, completely waves it off. Outside Nick's room, Travis now, which is obviously Madison's boyfriend, if you guys are keeping up, takes a call from Lisa. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but his ex-wife, anywho. So she puts him on the phone with their son, Christopher. So the way I'm understanding this, and the way I know to understand this, the way I'm trying to explain it, is that he originally had a family with this Liza, or Liza, or Liza, whatever you guys want to call her, the ex-wife. Originally had a relationship with her, had a son named Christopher, and they kind of broke up. They're kind of like split up and everything, and now he's in this relationship with Madison, and Madison was in a previous relationship having Nick and Alicia, her two kids, and basically, so her two kids and her come together with him and his kid, you know what I'm saying? So they're two different families, but now they're kind of coming together. They're creating one family now. Other than Lisa. I hope so. I hope that'd be pretty awkward. But anyway, I hope she's not involved. So yeah, anyways, gets on the phone with his actual son, Christopher. Christopher basically refuses to spend the weekend with Travis if it means being at the hospital with Nick. Travis urges him to basically treat Nick as a part of their new extended family, and basically his son Christopher just completely dismisses it, and he was going to force him to come stay at him because apparently it was his weekend or whatever. They have this custody agreement, and it was Travis's weekend to have his son. Obviously his son didn't want to come. Travis didn't want to deal with it, so he just told he told Lisa to basically keep him there. So obviously he didn't want to go. There was no intentions of him wanting to go and see his father. So, anyways, after that, Travis now offers to stay with Nick while Madison goes to school, where she works as a colleague counselor. So that happens. She goes to school. He's actually a teacher as well, but he stayed there with Nick at the hospital because they didn't want to leave him alone. So, en route, basically, Alicia tells Madison in the car that Nick's getting worse and they can't just send him to rehab like they did when he was a minor. He's grown up now. He's of legal age. You can't just send him to rehab like they did when he was a minor. He's an adult. That's what it is. You can't just do it. Now, at school, a student named Tobias, which we actually seen in some of the sneak peeks in the trailer for Fear the Walking Dead, sets off basically a security metal detector and is stopped by the principal. His name's Artie. We'll find more about him very, very soon. Madison basically covers for Tobias by frisking his pockets and pretending that loose change triggered the detector. She then brings him into a room to have like a chat. Obviously, she's a counselor. That's kind of what they do. In her office, basically, Madison asked Tobias why he tried to bring a knife to school, because she took the knife out of his pocket and put it in her drawer. And he reveals that he fears about the news reports of a virus spreading around the country. Madison basically assures him that they're safe and confiscates the blade, basically saying, if there's anything actually happening out there, the authorities would let us know about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't just not say anything. You know what I mean? Let this break down into a terror and not say a damn thing about this virus or about any dangers to come. They would let them know. But I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. So, unfortunately, Tobias is right. It's getting pretty bad out there. It really is. Not a lot of people know about it yet, but we'll see. Alicia now skips class to hang out with her boyfriend, Matt, at the football field. We've seen this in a couple sneak peeks and a couple previews for the series, Fear the Walking Dead. This guy, Matt, at a football field, skips class to hang out with him. They're kind of like in love and shit, and yeah. Anyway, moving on. Not really much there. Nick now tells Travis about the gruesome scene at the church and worries that he might be insane. Basically says that I seen Gloria eating a guy. You know what I mean? Everybody was dead. He woke up from his heroin sleep or whatever you guys want to call it, and everybody was dead. And then he went downstairs to find Gloria, and she was eating somebody. Travis basically speculates that the heroin gave Nick a bad trip. Nick basically assures him, it's never done that before. I've never had hallucinations when I've done this. And, Travis refused to believe that Nick's crazy or, that obviously he was telling the truth about this girl eating somebody. But just to make things better, he actually goes to the church anyway to see for himself. So he runs in basically to a shell-shocked junkie into the church and asks what happened. And the man, being the crackhead or the heroin head or whatever you guys want to call him, the junkie, basically just screams at him saying, "Don't kill me," and he runs off. Afterwards, guys, Travis finds basically a maggot-infested, bloody scene all over the church floor. Presumably where Nick did at the beginning of the episode where Gloria was actually eating the guy. But there was no zombie to be found. There was no body. She must have ate it all or something. Or I don't know. Do they act like squirrels? Do they just take their food up a tree or something? I'm not too sure. I hope not. I really hope not. But the body's completely gone. So she made quick work of him. I'll tell you that much. She definitely did. So yeah, he finds this maggot-infested, bloody scene and guts all over the floor. And he basically falls and puts his hand in it. It was kind of gross, kind of disgusting. Pretty cool, though. Definitely pretty cool. The next day now, Travis tells Madison what he saw at the church and offers that Nick might not be crazy. Madison basically attributes the blood to everyday crime and asks Travis not to enable her son by telling him the truth of what he saw there. That, I did see blood all over the floor. I did see, that something really, really bad happened there. Because that, in a way, would be like, it wasn't the heroin, so you don't have to quit it. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's not telling him outright that you don't have to quit it. Obviously, you have to quit the heroin. You know what I'm saying? But the way he would take it as a heroin junkie, as a junkie in general, he would say, "Oh, then I wasn't crazy. It was actually something that happened. So I guess taking heroin is not all that bad. So let's go do it again." Basically, is what I'm trying to say. I get why they're going to keep it a secret from him, but at the same time, the guy now thinks he's fucking crazy. So, I mean, it's kind of shitty, but anywho, moving on. At school now, Alicia cuddles with her boyfriend Matt, who basically suggests they meet at the beach for sunset to watch the sunset together, stuff like that. She basically asks him if his parents are still in the town, and he basically says yes, they are. So they're going to meet at the beach for sunset and basically go back to his place afterwards, and things are probably going to get a little funky, if you will. It was probably the most non-subtle way to put that. But anyway, moving on. Madison now stops by Artie's office and finds him basically at a switchboard listening on classes for teacher evaluations. I actually thought here that he was actually going to turn into a walker or something, because he was completely turned around from Madison when she walked in the door. And it was really weird. The music was getting all scary and shit, and really horrifying. Kind of deep metal sort of music. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to understand that, or I'm trying to explain that the best I can. I'm not gonna sing a song, if you will. It wasn't really a song. It was just that horror screeching sound of music, when something really, really scary happens, or You know, like the starting intro of Insidious or something when the words Insidious pops up. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of music. Anyway, he was doing teacher evaluations. He was just kind of paying attention to that. That's why he wasn't turning around immediately. Thought I heard him growling. I guess not. So yeah, basically he listens in. He hears Travis basically teaching his students and stuff like that. About the Jack London's short story, which is called To Build a Fire. They're going on and on and on and on and on and on and on about it. Not really important, but moving on, not really significant to the story. I guess it kind of is, you know, because they were going on about how, like, they would have killed, like, animals, basically, to make a fire and stuff like that, just to be able to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, survival is key. Basically, they're saying that London is trying to teach us how not to die. And we've seen that many times in the trailer as well, like those different quotes and stuff like that. Very significant, but at the same time, very small. So now, back at the hospital now. Nick, who is still lying in bed, tied down, by the way, because they're afraid that he's going to hurt himself, because they still think that he ran out in the middle of the street intentionally to get hit by a car. Obviously, he didn't. He was running from walkers. Nick basically convinces a nurse to untie one of his hands so that he could use the bedpan, because obviously it would be a lot less messy if he could just use his hand to take a piss for himself. Anyway, moving on. She agrees to it, and suddenly the patient in the adjacent bed codes, basically. He's dying, guys, and this is not a good sign. This is not a good sign at all. Because as we all know, as they obviously don't know, they don't even know about walkers at this point. I mean, obviously, Nick has seen one, but he hasn't really experienced it too much. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't know what it was. He doesn't know if it was an hallucination or not. But this guy's coding, and if he dies, guys, we all know that the virus is airborne, right? Even if you don't get bit, you turn. That's how it is right now, guys. You know what I'm saying? So, this could be bad. This could be really bad. So, he's starting to code. They're trying to revive him, stuff like that. And, basically, he codes, distracting the nurse long enough for Nick to actually escape. Before he sneaks out, he basically witnesses the doctors fail to resuscitate the patient and then quickly evacuate him to the morgue. Now, we can assume only the worst is to come from that right there. Like, the hospital is going to go into awry, is what I'm trying to say. So, he gets clothes out of, like, a linen bag and, you know, kind of just goes off on his own, gets his shoes on, stuff like that, and he escapes the hospital. It's pretty simple, you know what I'm saying? So, after learning that Nick escaped, Madison asks Travis to bring her to the church where it all started. She basically thought that Nick would probably go back there just to see if what he saw was a hallucination, but he didn't. So there, she sees the bloodbath and agrees that something bad happened. She finds Nick's book in the disheveled drug den, basically, in his bed, and she discovers like a heroin needle in it, and she kind of just breaks down just for a millisecond, just for a little bit. You know, I mean, it's her son. I completely understand. You know, she's basically losing her son to drugs right now. You know what I mean? That really does suck. It really would. So, yeah, she basically breaks down, cries. Travis obviously comforts her, rather. Madison and Travis now visit Nick's high school friend, Calvin. This gets a little interesting. Calvin. All right, so he is African American. Okay, not saying anything. I'm just letting you guys know who the character was. That's all. High school friend Calvin, to see if he's basically heard from Nick. Calvin offers to call some friends for possible leads and stuff like this. Travis actually calls Christopher, but it goes to voicemail. Obviously, his son doesn't want anything to do with him at this point, so he kind of just ignores his call. Nick now, off at a convenience store or something like that, basically buys a disposable cell phone and leaves a message for somebody. We do not know who that is at this point. He rests basically under an overpass. All right, so Alicia now is at the beach obviously this being Madison's daughter, as we all know, that she was supposed to meet Matt at the beach, basically to watch the sunset together, and she texts him basically, "Where are you?" And she basically texts him next, "You better be dead." Well, Alicia, it just so happens that he actually might be. This is where it starts to get dark. We never really get confirmed that Matt's dead, but we never get a text back. So we do not know what happened to Matt, guys. We do not know. Madison and Travis, I actually predicted that Matt, Alicia's boyfriend, would want to be one of the first to go, guys. I actually predicted that. I didn't really see him lasting too long, and it just so happens that it actually might be happening already, and we didn't even see his death. You know what I'm saying? Like, one time, he was just here with Alicia, chilling out what looked to be, like, on a rooftop. I originally thought it was, like, the Hollywood sign or something, like, on the back of it, but I don't think it was, because of the next scene after that. I think it was just, like, a rooftop or something. Because it looked like they were hanging out on, like, a scaffolding / sign of some sort, is basically why I thought it was the Hollywood sign. Obviously, they're in LA, they're in, Los Angeles, so it's definitely quite possible, but who knows? Basically, she texts Matt at the beach, basically saying, "Where are you? You better be dead. There's no excuse for you not being here, so you better be dead." Madison now and Travis basically encounter a traffic jam on the highway off-ramp as police cars and choppers swarm the area again, which we've seen this in the trailer for Fear the Walking Dead and a lot of sneak peeks and stuff like this. This is one of the scenes that really kind of teach us about this disease. You know what I'm saying? And teach the characters about this disease. You know that it's actually happening. It's completely unnatural. It's impossible. But in a world where, science development is possible for, like, warfare and just all these diseases right now being contained by, like, the CDC, anything is possible to get out, guys. It really is. As much as you think that there's no possibility for ever there being a zombie apocalypse, right now, I completely agree with you, but at the same time, guys, there are lots of diseases out there that infect, like bugs right now. There's like a fungi disease that actually takes over someone's brain, like it's a spore disease. There's actually something out there, guys, right now. It's not humanized yet. It's still to do with insects and plants and other things, but it does take over, okay? You know what I'm saying? It is completely possible as of, well, not right now for humans, but I'm saying there is some sort of disease out there that is comparable to the zombie virus, if you will, or T19, or whatever it's called in The Walking Dead, the actual scientific name that we get to hear from Dr. Jenner. I believe T9, I believe TS9, or T19, I believe that was like test patient 19, which actually happened to be his wife. So that's not really the disease name. But moving on. Anyway, completely off topic. I do apologize. Anyways, basically, as police cars and choppers swarm the area, a round of gunshots and screams erupt. Basically, they were there, and Travis basically drives away from the scene, trying to get her out of there as fast as possible. Don't want her in danger. The next day, Madison and Travis join a group of teachers at school who are watching footage of the incident that they actually experienced somewhat that caused the traffic jam. On this video, as an EMT worker hunches over a victim, the victim rises up and just ravages his neck, basically. Just starts eating. You know what I'm saying? Just completely bites his neck, just starts eating away at this guy. Obviously, that's not a good sign for the EMT worker. You get bit in the neck, you're already done. The apocalypse hasn't even started yet, and you're already done. That's it. So the undead victim proceeds to attack everyone around him, resistant to police gunfire. That's why you heard so many gunshots going off. They were shooting him in the chest, trying to defend themselves. And finally, someone had the brilliant idea of putting him down by shooting him once in the head. They shot him multiple times in the stomach and the chest area, and he actually kept getting up. He fell down a couple times and kept getting up. That's what people finally realized was unnatural about this new disease coming out. It's completely unnatural, you know what I'm saying? So, he kept getting up and everything like that. Now, Yeah, Nick now wanders down the street and leaves another message begging the person to call him back. In class now, Alicia and her friends watch more footage of the incident. Alicia again texts Matt, her boyfriend, basically saying, "Where are you?" Now over the PA, the principal makes an unexpected announcement that school is going to be ending early. It's only going to be a half day, and Madison tells Alicia now to go home in case Nick shows up. Now when she was seeing this footage, she thought it was fake. And school now being only half day only confirms that it really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And Madison basically telling her to go home, stay safe, stuff like that in case Nick shows up. So anyway, as students flood onto school buses, Madison and Tobias, which, as you guys know, the guy who carried the knife at school, who set off the metal detectors at the very beginning of the episode, who is completely worried about this disease spreading and stuff like this, who actually seems to know something about it, obviously, just kind of putting two and two together. He's kind of turning into some sort of an expert, if you will. Madison, Tobias is on the bus, and Madison is outside, and they share basically a look saying, oh shit, this is happening. And Tobias is like, yeah, bitch, I told you so. Like, fuck. Anyway, moving on. This is near the ending of the episode, by the way. This was 90 minutes, guys. If you guys really want to see and learn more details, I'm not going to go over it, detail for detail. I'm going over it like a lot for a recap, and then I'm going to do sort of like a review of what I thought of the episode. So Nick now meets with his dealer at a downtown diner, and the dealer, guys, who was the guy who was texting saying, could you please meet me? It's Calvin. Calvin, guys, the African American I told you guys about that Madison and Travis visited to see if, Nick was around there. Calvin is his drug dealer. Who would have thought? Literally, I wouldn't have. He looked so innocent. He was just working on his car when Madison approached him and stuff like that. And who knew that Madison, the guy she was talking to, was actually the one supplying Nick with the drugs? Anyway, Nick wanted to ask him something, and he did. They were at a diner. Okay, so Nick asks if his drugs were laced with anything that might have caused hallucinations. Calvin basically denies it and tells Nick that his parents came looking for him, basically saying, what the hell are you doing? I can't have this happening. This is very dangerous. I can't have anybody knowing that I'm a drug dealer. You know what I mean? He basically yells at Nick for putting him in danger of being discovered as a drug dealer. Nick basically says, I'm sorry, I would never say anything like that to anybody. They're just really worried about me. That's all they're doing, and they just wanted to ask around, probably. Anyway, Calvin agrees and basically says that he's going to actually go get Nick some drugs. Go get him some heroin to kind of taper him off, if you will. Because Nick actually wants to get off the drugs right now. Or at least that's what he said at the hospital. So he agreed to go with Calvin. So he gets in his car, and they actually go down to the LA River. Which, again, we've seen this in many sneak peeks, many previews, a trailer, and a lot of photos. Okay? So Calvin now drives Nick to the LA River and basically leaves him in the car for a really quick second and, unknowingly to Nick, retrieves a gun from the trunk. So obviously he's not planning on getting Nick drugs. He wants to eliminate the threat, guys. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to get found out that he's a drug dealer, so he wants to eliminate the threat. He thinks that Nick right now is a threat to his business, and he thinks that he might get found out if Nick keeps on keeping on. You know what I mean, is what I'm trying to say. So he retrieves a gun from his trunk. He then, opens the door for Nick's side of the car, basically, come on, well, let's go get some. And Nick spots the gun, and he just pretends to act cool. As he gets out of the car, he tackles Calvin, and they're fighting with the gun and stuff like that. And he actually ends up shooting Calvin and killing him in the process. So, Nick just killed somebody. He doesn't know what this means. He doesn't know that he's going to turn into Walker. He thinks that he just committed murder. Or, well, in this case, self-defense. It was a drug deal gone bad, if you will. So, he thinks that he did something really, really bad. He leaves the gun there. He leaves Calvin there. He leaves the car there. They're in the river. Not anybody's going to find him anytime soon. But anyway, he goes off, hides under an underpass, and basically calls his mom. He actually called Travis. He didn't actually call his mom. He wanted Travis to actually come there alone because he did something bad and he didn't want his mom to know about it. Pretty self-explanatory. Didn't want to, not really depressed. He didn't want to, he didn't want to make his mom, know that he actually killed somebody, that he did something that bad. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was self-defense, and I completely agree with it, he was going to kill him. He was going to kill Nick. Calvin was going to kill Nick, and he did what he had to do to survive. That's just how it is. So Madison and Travis now pick Nick up soon after, underneath an overpass, and Nick tells them that he killed Calvin because he was going to kill him. Okay? So he takes them basically to the river to show him his work, if you will. So, to his astonishment, Calvin's body is completely gone. The gun is there, the door is open, and they basically say, you must have been hallucinating again, or something like that. Because all it was Calvin's gun, Calvin's car, and there was no blood around there at all. You know what I'm saying? So, he feels like he's losing his mind at this point. Nick does. He feels like he's completely losing his mind. First he hallucinated, or seemingly hallucinated, that Gloria was in there killing everybody and eating, and now he hallucinated that he just killed Calvin, but he didn't, and we just find out about that now. So as they're starting to drive off, as they're starting to back up, they see Calvin staggering toward them in the back of their truck. Not in the back of their truck, but behind their truck, rather. In a little tunnel area where they used to get into the LA River. So they all get out of the car. Well, Madison and Travis does. And Madison gets out to get out of the truck to help Calvin, basically saying, are you all right? What's going on? Are you okay? And he attacks her and almost actually bites her hand. That's right, guys. She almost died. I'd say probably the main character, if not Travis, almost died. That was pretty scary. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to see that happen, and I'm glad it didn't. Travis actually caught him in time before he actually chomped down on the hand of Madison and kind of pushed him away. And he was kind of sitting there struggling with him, saying, what the hell are you? Because obviously he was sitting there growling. He was trying to eat him. His eyes were all fucked up. He had a gunshot in his chest. It's pretty self-explanatory that Calvin right now should not be fucking standing. You know what I'm saying? So Nick sees this happening, and he hops in the driver's seat and puts the car in reverse and hits the gas toward him. Travis and Madison get out of the way, and basically Nick runs Calvin over by reversing over him. And when he did that, he thought it was over. Okay, he stayed in the car, he thought it was over, and Nick Calvin now in front of the car gets up. He just got hit by a car and he gets up. Now, we all know why he gets up. There was no damage to the brain. We all know it. We all know it as viewers. They don't know it at all. They have no fucking clue what's going on. How the hell did this guy just survive a truck? Getting run over completely. Obviously, it's possible to survive a car accident. It totally is. But you can't just get up and walk away. You can't just get up and continue trying to go and eat them. You know what I mean? So, Nick puts it into drive and hits Calvin again, taking him this time all the way down to the river. Braking right before he got out of the tunnel so that Calvin did a fall / kind of launched him into the air and landed on the ground below. Obviously, he must be dead now, right, guys? So they basically gape at Calvin's crumpled body, and again, all three of them up top, looking down at Calvin. Calvin starts rasping, and he turns his mangled head towards them yet again. His jaw completely fucked up. His arms completely broken. Everything completely fucked up with the guy, and he's still moving his head. He still wants something to eat. So, basically, this leads Madison to say, what the hell is happening? And that is where the episode ends, guys. That is where it comes to a really, really good close. I loved this episode. It was very, very good, and I definitely recommend you guys watch it and check it out. Even if you guys have not even seen The Walking Dead, the normal original TV show. based on the comic books. If you guys have not even seen The Walking Dead, check this show out, guys. You don't have to see The Walking Dead to watch this show. You don't. There's no crossovers. There's no nothing. It's a completely new show, just based on the same storyline of the apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? So check this show out, guys. I really do recommend it. It's a brand new feel to The Walking Dead. Obviously, it's not The Walking Dead in terms of, Rick and their characters and stuff like that. And this time, we actually get to see the apocalypse break down. It's, in my opinion, right now, I want to say more interesting than The Walking Dead. Dare I say it? I don't know. I kind of like seeing society completely fall apart in a sense that everybody doesn't know what's going on. They don't know how to deal with these things. And it's going to be all about survival. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be a really good show. There's only 6 episodes for the first season, which is kind of unfortunate, but we kind of came to expect that, seeing as though season 1 of The Walking Dead was actually only 6 episodes. So I actually kind of came to accept that and came to understand. But it's already been confirmed for season 2. And season 2 is actually going to take place for 15 episodes, which I'm very, very excited for as well. So I cannot wait to finish off this season, guys, or even just the next episode in general. I loved this show. It's a very, very good one. I think it's going to be a great television series. Hopefully you guys will check it out. That's pretty much it for my episode review for Season 1, Episode 1 of Fear the Walking Dead, the pilot. It was 90 minutes long, an hour and a half. Definitely go check it out. I believe you can watch it on AMC.com right now if you register for an account. So definitely go check it out there. I'll leave a link in the description to sneak peeks and stuff like that to next week's episode of The Walking Dead, and sort of like things that happen in this week's episode. But definitely go check out the episode. I mean, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I don't know why you bothered watching this review. You should probably watch the episode first. It might be a little more beneficial to you. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. I will be back on Thursday. If all you guys watch from me is these predictions and review videos, I will be back on Thursday with my episode predictions for Season 1, Episode 2 of Fear the Walking Dead, which is actually called, hold on, So Close Yet So Far. That is what Episode 2 is called. Episode 1 was entitled The Pilot, and which obviously pilot just means the beginning of a TV show. It's not, there's no really big description of pilot. It's just what it's called. That's basically the first episode of any TV series, by the way, except for The Walking Dead. Technically it was named The Pilot, but they also gave it a episode title of Days Gone By. A little nod to the comic book. So that's pretty much it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my episode review. If you did, feel free to hit the video up with a like, share it with your friends. Tell me in the comment section below what you guys thought of the episode. Let's have a little discussion down there. What you guys think of the TV series so far as a whole. I think it's great, guys. I think it really is great, and I think you guys should check it out. But that's it for now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow or on Thursday, and I'll see you guys then. Bye, everybody.